Slamma bamma ding dong. Whack-a-doodle dinky. Slamma bamma noodle.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the last.
Share, like, and subscribe, everybody. Get it out there.
Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, start offering me. Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
Hi, Matthew. It's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the Dumb Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show. And I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great. And I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more. And just keep the faith. Keep fighting. I think we may get America back. But in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb. And you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, Facebook's got to stop throttling. I mean, it's to the point where it's even more depressing. No strikes, no nothing, clean channel, and still getting throttled. Maybe I should just do some liberal episodes. Like I should do a second channel where I wear Birkenstocks and I smell like patchouli, and I eat tofu. And I put some braids in my hair with some rose-colored glasses, and I sit here and I talk about distribution of wealth and how billionaires are evil, and maybe they'll start boosting the algorithm.
We could talk about your sweaty balls.
Couldn't hurt.
My sweaty wiener. Oh, your sweaty wiener's just dripping all over my chin. You haven't heard that, have you? See, everyone heard the sweaty balls skit by Alec Baldwin, but nobody ever heard sweaty wiener.
Me, yeah.
A lot of people haven't heard sweaty wiener. They've heard sweaty balls, like, oh, my Christmas seasonal the famous sweaty balls. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I can smell your sweaty balls from here. And he's talking about cheese balls, of course, and his name's Sweaty. Well, he also says, my famous sweaty balls from previous years were such a hit. We've now developed sweaty wieners. And she's like, oh, I can't wait to get your sweaty wiener between my buns.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then she takes a bite of it, and she's like, oh, the taste of your sweaty wiener is fantastic. I actually have the juices dripping down my chin. It's so good. The sweaty wiener one's better than the sweaty balls. It's completely out there. It's so good. So you got to try to find it because it's not on YouTube. It's nowhere. It's almost like it was blacklisted, but it does exist. I will try to find it, and it's hilarious. It's
as much as Alec Baldwin, and I sent you that meme earlier about the NRA thing. If somebody had taken the NRA classes, and then they would have understood instead of shooting their the people that are on set with them. But I mean, all of his earlier skits were just so great. He was fantastic. He has great comedic timing. He's well presented. The guy is genuinely funny. He's talented. I like him. I like his performances anyway.
I like Alec Baldwin. I've never disliked Alec Baldwin. I think he's a complete dick. But in the real, but that's like and then you hear like Alec Baldwin.
I just wouldn't go to the range with him.
Right. Well, and then you got somebody like Bruce Willis, who honestly, how do you not love Bruce Willis? He stays out of the limelight. He doesn't get involved in politics, and now we find out he has dementia, and it's just it's pretty severe. And that's just, that's when you realize, oh shit, I'm getting old, right?
Right.
Anyway,
Raquel
I put up
Welch.
I
Jesus.
know. God, what a looker.
Oh,
I wonder if Don Lemon said she was past her prime when he was doing the eulogy. Did anyone hear about this? No?
that guy's a talentless turd.
I got a show tonight. I take after him. Like I have a feeling I might hear it from the black and gay community just a little bit tonight after me going after Don Lemon. So Amy will like it. It's a good show. It's all about freaking promoting women, and
and I would love it.
We'll watch it. How are you, Ames?
I'm good. I do want to preemptively say, I apologize in advance. I have not slept or eaten. I did eat today. I ate dinner just a few minutes ago, but I have to have a hard stop tonight. I got to be out of here by like 10.
Oh, that's easy.
I'm sorry.
Well, let's all agree to be done by 10 o'clock. Is that fair?
Yeah, that would be great. Then I won't feel like a loser.
Okay. So we're all going to be done by 10, folks. There you go. Listen, and I want to apologize, honestly, for missing so many live shows. I was under the weather, and I'm still not 100%. I am still like I got hit this time, so I've been. It's just hard to function. Like I woke up at 10:30. I haven't done that since freaking grade school, and I went back to bed at noon. So I just tired.
Dude, pneumonia is nothing to play around with.
No, it's fucking serious stuff, dude. And I've gotten all my recorded shows done, but people don't understand. That's like me going, well, welcome to the donut from pause, eat a lozenge, suck it down, wipe my eyes, get the redness out, and then start again. 3.5 hours to do a 20-minute show. It's been insane. All right, we have a lot to talk about.
Because I'm just saying, like, you don't want to don't overdo it. And I'm glad you've taken time off because listen to me. I'm sure your wife says the same thing. Pneumonia can turn into pleurisy, and that can last months. So you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
I've never been a singular derivative in my life. So I'm always, I've got multiple words, but I've never been a pleurisy before. Oh, a pleurisy.
What's it
not
called?
A plural, not a plural C.
Plural C.
Got it.
Pleurisy.
Pleurisy. Not a plural C. Being plural. Right. I'm a singular. I'm a singular possessive.
We all know I don't possess the linguistic skills of Matt.
I'm not making fun of you. I was trying to make a funny, and it really just failed flat on its face. Okay. We got a lot to do. We don't have time for this shit. We got to get going. Got a lot of people in chat. First of all, okay, most of the people in this chat are an adult, 30 plus. Don't ever fucking use the term "my guy" when you're dude, what the hell's wrong with you? This whole generation is like, whenever they want to insult you and like call you an idiot, they're like, "Hey, my guy." That's not correct. And when people do that, I'm like, dude, you're a trendy little twat waffle. The fact that you used "my guy," "Hey, my guy," it's like the people used to go, "You mad, bro?" Like in 2015, you mad, bro? You mad, bro?
Oh, let's bring that back.
And then they spell it, "You mad, bro," all one word. It's like, no, I'm not mad, you dick. You want to see me mad? Right. Keep saying "you mad, bro." Call me "my guy."
Right.
Hey, my guy. What are you, fucking from like Brooklyn? You're a Brooklyn Jesuit? Oh, my guy, how you doing? I cannot believe it's been this. What the fuck's wrong with people? So they're coming up with this little trendy thing, and I'm tired. I'm sick of it. Every time someone says it, I see it all over Facebook now, and then it annoys you, and it annoys you, and then you use it to go ahead and do it to somebody else, so you annoy them too. It's like you're the person that makes this stuff spread. I just kill it. I'm just like, dude, don't use that shit and talk to me. Don't ever expect me to reply to you when you say, "Hey, my guy." Hey, my guy. My guy. Oh, God. Just annoying me. Sorry, does shit like that annoy you guys? Because it annoys the hell out of me, obviously. No? Okay, well, I want to show you a picture. Here's a picture. Can anyone tell me what this is a picture of?
The LBT plus minus sign community. I don't know.
I think it's fair to assume that that's probably where they fall in.
I see a lot of pink hair and blue hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I like
face
the girl with
is
the severe part in her hair. Like, I don't know if that's like a part or she was kind of shaved her head, then changed her mind after one swipe. I don't. It's a girl, right? It could be a boy. I have no idea.
I don't assume gender because with this crowd you can't. This reminds me of like playing the game Cyberpunk 2077, and you randomize the character of who you want to look like, and this is what it comes out as. These people.
Guess who?
These are all headshots of Antifa members. You know, Antifa, the ones that don't exist.
Oh.
Yeah, they're headshots from their prison photos from arrested Antifa members across the United States. The very best of the best.
The anti-fascists who used fascism
tactics. Yeah. It makes sense. It's kind of like Don Lemon, who says, I don't believe in ageism, and then uses ageism to go ahead and be sexist against Nikki Haley. We're going to watch that show tonight. It's going to be fun. Here's the thing. I guess this is like, what am I sick of? Then I had this guy, my guy. This was a my guy. He comes on and he starts talking trash about me. This is Rick Dennison. He's got 160 friends, and they all look like strippers. So he started talking trash and making up stats. And what he did is Rick Dennison said, hey, Tim Tebow and the Broncos got penalized for all of his praying. And I said, well, I had season tickets to the 2012 Broncos, and I watched all the home games, and I watched all on TV of the away games. And not one time did the Broncos ever get penalized with Tim Tebow praying. In fact, it was done. He would just take a knee for about 5 seconds after he scored a touchdown, and then pop right back up and put his finger up in the air. It was very, very quick, and it wasn't even excessive celebration. Nobody got penalized. Yes, they did. Just Google it. And I said, well, I have Googled it. Or I don't need to Google it because I was there. I've already told you. Why would I need to Google it? And I said, he's like, oh, yeah, whoa. And I said, okay, you know what? Here, I'll give you $10,000. Everyone here's seen it. I will go take it out of the bank, and I will take a picture of it on the table and spread it on the Don't In Front of Me table. I will fly it to you personally if you can show me one preseason or regular season game that Tim Tebow played with the Broncos where he was penalized for excessive celebration. I'll give you $10,000 cash. And this guy goes, oh, F you, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I just said, so then I went on his page and I posted this picture. I said, bro, with friends like yours, you need that $10,000. They look expensive. Then he blocked me. So it's really annoying people week. And this one's probably the worst. And I want to open up the phone lines to everybody. Leroy, you want to give them the number, please?
Absolutely. Folks, if you want to call in, please do. It's 804-504-1955. That's 804-504-1955. Please call in and let us know what you'd like to talk about tonight.
That's all you got to do. Pick up the phone. I'm going to open up Skype. And here's the thing. And I want to get people's perspective, and I don't want you to be afraid.
That's sad. When you start off like that,
I don't want you to be afraid. I really don't.
But you should be.
Okay. I want to tell you what's been going on Facebook. This Ron DeSantis video just broke 1 million views. It's our first video ever to hit 1 million people to see it. Not 1 million impressions. It's actually up to like 3.5 million impressions, but it's been seen by 1 million people. It's pretty cool. And most people are like, oh my God, I had no idea about this. This was so well done. Thank you. I didn't know this about Ron DeSantis. But then other people are like, do your research. He's skull and bones. Do research. He's Illuminati. Do your research. He's actually in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and the one that's in Florida is his clone. Folks,
that's
I'm
special.
not listen to me. On my children and my wife's life. This is like 1 out of 10 people. This isn't some random putz. This is like 10% of the interactions on this video believe that Ron DeSantis is skull and bones because, first of all, okay. I would challenge any viewer. Right. How can that possibly be? Right. But, well, I can tell you, first of all, the skull and bones was developed in Ivy League type schools like Cornell, Harvard, Yale. Huh? He's like, did I just lock up?
He froze.
Yeah, he just looks like he's really paying attention. It's okay. Leroy, do you agree? You do? Thanks, buddy. So the Skull and Bones, here he comes. He's trying. This is an internet problem. Here he comes. Come on. Oh, he's down. All right, we'll get him back.
All the crap happening in Ohio.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some interference. So anyway, Skull and Bones, if you didn't know, was created by the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, and it had ties to Wild Bill Donovan, and ultimately what the OSS. We'll get Leroy on here. Hey, buddy. So we were just talking how the Skull and Bones had go ahead.
The Illuminati, they got me. They fucking
right. Well, I had a feeling they got you. So the Office of Strategic Services, which was developed in World War II with Wild Bill Donovan, which was essentially what became the CIA, and honestly, we're pretty much like EOD and SEALs. A lot of the OSS were, and then ultimately Kennedy created the SEAL teams once the OSS was splintered and the CIA was developed, which wasn't Kennedy, but he did create the SEAL teams. There was this underground society called Skull and Bones, and it would be like me creating the Don't Unfriend Me, the Dummies. Yes, it was influential. Yes, rich people were a part of it. Fraternities, secret societies, they've all been a part of it. But this was the 50s and the 60s. And the Skull and Bones is about as relevant today as Skulls and Bones. It's dead. It's nothing. It's not anything remotely like it was. The Trilateral Commission, the Illuminati, this whole thing. People, why would everyone agree on the show right now, including Amy and Leroy? Wasn't it literally Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis as VP? Isn't that what we heard for 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any different? Did anyone hear anything different?
No.
Now, these little brainwashed clones are saying that DeSantis is George Soros came out today, and he basically said the Republican nominee is going to be DeSantis, right? That's Soros trying to stir shit up. He hates Trump. He's just trying to get conservatives to turn against DeSantis. DeSantis hasn't even announced he's running.
Right.
He literally has a window of like 2 months. He hasn't even said he's running. Now they're tearing down Nikki Haley. They're tearing down DeSantis. And people are buying it up hook, line, and sinker. They're calling Nikki Haley a neocon, for God's sakes. Nikki Haley is one of the most ultra conservatives I've ever seen. She literally dismantled Joe Biden today on Fox and sounded more presidential than any president that I've seen in the last 16 years. I'm just confused at why people believe this crap. And because Donald Trump throws a hissy fit and literally is just blasting every Republican in sight, why everyone all of a sudden believes that DeSantis is in George Soros's pocket because George Soros donated money to his campaign. George Soros donated money to everybody's campaign that he thinks is going to take stuff away from any other candidate they don't want in. It happens all the time. Republicans donate to Democrats who have no chance. Third-party candidates, so they take away votes from the Democrat. It's politics. It doesn't mean DeSantis is in bed. And why would you expect him to turn that money away anyway? I want to get your thoughts.
You want to go first, or
You can go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead.
I come from this train of thought, right, where I really believe this. This is not, I truly, in my bones, I believe this, that there is a psychological door for most people that want to believe something that is so outlandish at times, because it undermines some level of authority. And what I mean by that is it always paints some group, some person, some entity as, look, these are the people behind the curtains pulling the strings, like the Wizard of Oz kind of deal. And I really think that, I mean, these are probably the same people that have dreams about the black helicopters that follow them around at night. I think it's an easy out. It's an easy way for people to how can I put this? To kind of blame someone else instead of the current parties that are in charge, or in place of the current administration. It's an easy way to say, look, it's not all Joe Biden. It's the Illuminati or the Skull and Bones. It's whoever the hell, right? People want to believe in these conspiracy theories that at times are just incredibly outlandish. And the funny thing is that for every one of these conspiracy theories, like, doesn't that kind of, when you distill all of that horse shit down, doesn't that kind of suggest that if you did believe that, I mean, if you really did believe that 9/11 was an inside job and this kind of thing, how could you ever, for the love of God, how could you ever vote for more government power ever again? Like, wouldn't that just fuel the fire?
It's a really good point. Yeah. I totally agree with everything you just said, Leroy, because I usually do. I also think that,
have I told
most
you how
Americans,
smart you are, Amy?
You have not today. I think, most Americans, we're looking for leadership. We're looking for a definitive answer. Especially with the current administration, we don't get answers to anything, even a simple one. So I think people are always looking for the right answers. They're looking for some kind of something that makes sense. And I think to a lot of people, the things that they make up in their mind, it makes sense. Sadly, not always, but it's something to believe in. It's like we need something to believe in, and that's what people were believing in. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It's just
My thoughts are
like at this point, I hate to say it.
Right.
Like when you do a show like this, you have a horse in the race, right? I think that's fair to say.
Sure.
And I don't care whether you're Ben Shapiro, I don't care if you're Crowder, I don't care if you're Don Lemon. Everybody's got their horse. And up until now, my horse was Donald Trump. I'm done. I'm so fucking sick of Donald Trump. Like, yeah. I am absolutely fucking tired of his ass. And I'm not the only one. I'm every conservative station that I've listened to, minus Carrie Lake, who essentially just all over Donald Trump's dick. Besides her and a couple of others, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and people are sick of his shit. And I'm sick of his shit. And we're not even in primary season yet. I mean, we're not even in 12 months in the window. And I am all, thank you, Sweet Pea. I'm just done with him. And if he's on the lone ticket, I'm going to vote for him. Of course I'm going to vote for him because I like his policies. I am just so sick of his inability to shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any other Republican who will be as blunt as me. And I may lose viewers for that. And that's sad. But he just needs to shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. What is tearing down DeSantis and Nikki Haley going to do? But listen to some of the shit that he said.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis is a George Soros plant. Ron DeSantis is disloyal because of his COVID record. Ron DeSantis pushed the vaccine. How does Donald Trump have the cojones to sit here and say that Ron DeSantis pushed the vaccine? That he takes big donor liberal money and dark money from liberals.
Right.
He gave the state of Florida to the Republicans for one of the first times, and I can't even tell you how long. Come on, folks. Tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me I'm absolutely
think you are.
bad crazy that Trump has just turned into a petulant child who we all know what's going to happen. He's probably going to have a contention. If DeSantis runs, I don't think he wins the primary. And I think he splits off and creates another party. I have no faith that Donald Trump will do what's right for the Republican Party at all. None, zero, zilch. There's not even 0.1% of a chance that he will do what's right. Tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead, Leroy, Amy.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. He seems like a petulant child, 100%. Anyone who isn't boasting him up and giving him like accolades constantly, he immediately tears down. And I think we're tired of seeing that. I mean, yes, there has to be competition in every part of life, especially in politics, but you shouldn't be bashing the people who were supporting you a few months ago that you supported.
Right.
And now you're turning around and just saying, you're nothing to me now. Where's the loyalty? Where's the, the like see it throughness, I guess. It's not even like a term.
Stick-to-itedness, which isn't a word.
Right.
But they call it in hockey stick-to-itedness. Can anyone tell me this? Can someone tell me over the last 6 years, somebody who was extremely close to Trump, who still is, go?
Oh, I don't think I could come up with any sort of reliable answer to that. I'm
Could
pretty
any
sure
of our
they've all
listeners
abandoned ship at some point. I will say this because it's a point that I wanted to get out prior.
So before Leroy makes his point, could any of the listeners please do me a favor and tell, because Trump's all about loyalty, can you please tell me someone Trump has been loyal to in 6 years? One person that is still there pushing for him. Name one.
I got nothing.
People said Flynn and Lindell.
What about his kids? I mean, he's pretty loyal to them.
Ivanka isn't. Yeah, I mean, Don Jr. is. But Ivanka isn't. She's completely out of this run. No, not Bongino. Bongino wasn't a part of his cabinet. I'm talking about people who were in his inner circle.
Richard Grinnell.
Yeah, I mean, he's fired.
Cash Patel. Okay. Carrie Rivas Sprix. God, I hope I said that right. She says
Cash Patel's just there recently. He hasn't been there the whole time.
No, he was. Well, I mean, when did he come into the last administration? Trump's administration, second year, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's not since he announced. I'm looking how long Cash Patel served.
Yeah.
Because I think he came into the Trump administration in 2017 or 18.
Carrie, God, I'm going to mispronounce that. Oof. Oh, crap. It just scrolled. Carrie.
Yeah.
Just get it out there. Go ahead.
Yep.
She says Putin.
Huh.
That's stupid.
That's funny.
That's
Well, she's trying to make a joke, but
was it a joke? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know. Well, it's Chav. Ban him. So that's why it's Chav. So
it's like Trump's the kid in high school that only had friends because he had money and could beat everybody up. Do you know what I mean? Like no one was like, and people probably were loyal to him to a point, but then when you question like, hey, maybe that's not the right way to do this, or maybe we should not exile this person, or hey, so-and-so was right, then you're immediately excommunicated. You're done. You're dead.
Right.
I don't want this to be a Trump bashing fest. My point is at some point with the bodies that are remaining, he's going to have to pick a VP. And his best choice is Nikki fucking Haley. Yeah. I have said this for 2.5 years. There is no other female. If he picks Marjorie Taylor Greene, it'll be the biggest landslide against him ever. Yeah. It'll be the worst beating it'll be Mondale proportions. He will get utterly fucking destroyed if he picks Marjorie Taylor Greene. I will vote against that ticket. I won't even vote for that ticket. No.
She's Marjorie Taylor.
If-
Ugh, no one likes her.
Listen, it's not that I don't like her. It's that it's like Carrie Lake in a Trump ticket. I mean, you literally have the same person. I have no desire to say and put my name on that ticket. If he doesn't pick Nikki Haley brings in the women who he lost. It brings in minorities. It brings in the Indian and Punjab community. It brings in moderates. Everything he needs.
Yeah.
Everything he needs. You put Marjorie Taylor Greene on there, and you're going to piss off not every single woman in America. Is not a fucking chance.
Right.
She's not liked. She's the Kamala Harris of Republicans. Now, I like that she's a bulldog. I like that she's tough, but I also think that she's a sensationalist, like most of his following. And no, I won't vote for that ticket. I won't. In good conscience, I can't. And everybody's like, oh, you're a rhino, blah, blah. You know what? I don't care. Because you don't even know what true conservatism is, and it's not that for sure. And either we're Republicans or we're not. Go ahead.
Well, that was kind of my point that I was going to make before, right? When you had said, you know, Donald Trump tends to view loyalty as above everything else. And that's not necessarily something that I find to be, I don't know, appealing. The problem with that is that that kind of discards the other qualities that could make a really, really strong conservative candidate. And what I mean by that is I don't want to necessarily look at my candidates and say, oh, I'm going to follow Donald Trump or I'm going to follow Nikki Haley just simply because of who they are. What I'm looking for is I'm trying to find the candidates that are most fall in line with the conservative values that I hold dear. And so what I'm looking at is, you know, fiscal conservatism along with a pro-life stance, along with, you know, lowering the minimum wage. If I can find a candidate that fits that mold, I will vote for them. And I don't care if he's orange or if it's a woman. I don't care. I am looking for that particular set of values, and it's not up to me to try and kind of sort all of that out. It's up to them to try and fit that mold. That's what and that's what I wanted to get across. I wish
Keith said it best. They're not leaders. I've said it 1,000 times. These aren't elected leaders. That's the biggest fallacy in the world. They're there to balance the budget. They're there to protect the frickin' borders. They're there to pass legislation, enforce legislation, or judge legislation, interpret the law. This is not about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, folks, you're living a dream. And I understand you all have been grasping at this thin thread of trust the plan. I know you've been just holding on to it and you don't want to let that thread go. But there is no plan. You should have known there was zero plan the moment that NFT trading cards came out. Okay.
Yes.
You should have known there was no plan when Trump turned on every single person on his administration and cabinet and blamed them. You should have known there was no plan when people thought that there were clones and that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats were all hung in Guantanamo Bay, and they tried to sell you that lie. You should have known there was no plan when they said that he was running secret tribunals. Folks, it's all bullshit. You're believing the National fucking Enquirer. I don't understand. You're not dumb. I spend time with you people. I spend time with you people. And I'm just baffled at how some of you believe in some of this Easter Bunny bullshit.
I need to ask Matt a question. Do you think
He's
that
12 inches? I'll answer it for you.
It's 12 inches. That's correct. She's right.
Oh my God. Do you think that
that a girl?
I've heard.
Not the elections, what happens before the primaries. Do you think that the primaries are more counterproductive towards kind of weeding out all of that? Like, because it tends to really get some of the venom to come out in people. Do you think the primaries are more counterproductive towards the ideals of conservatism than
That's a
as
great
are
question.
helpful?
I'll be honest with you. I think you can look at this from a nonpartisan perspective, because you can go back simply to the vice president's debates, which actually showed more about the candidates than the actual presidential debates. Because all that was a come on, man. Come on, man. I'll take you outside the bar and I'll whoop your ass, white boy. That was all you got from Trump and Biden. But what was very interesting between Pence and Kamala Harris, who he just shellacked, by the way. But when you go to the primaries, you got to see how vicious Kamala Harris was to Biden, calling him a racist, saying he was responsible for busing, and nobody fucking cared. Nobody cared. Then you've got, Ted Cruz being said that his father helped assassinate Kennedy, calling him Lion Ted and, Tiny Marco. And Donald Trump was just vicious and brutal to these people, and nobody cared. Everyone thought it was great, and everyone got off on it. So to answer your question, I think mainstream conservatism is what's replaced, classic conservatism, which is more in line with classic liberalism. And nobody gives a shit anymore. People think that everybody who's against Trump is a neocon. This whole party within the party, they're neoconservatives. They're neoconservatives.
Yeah. I can't see that as being a true statement. And not you. I'm just saying that's not true. That's not a true quality, though. You can be a neocon and still place, fiscal responsibility in front of a party.
There's nothing wrong with being a neoconservative. There's nothing wrong with being a neoconservative. They just differ on geopolitical stances, and that democracy needs to essentially, like Christianity, spread. It's more of a populist mentality when it comes to geopolitics. But that's what they want. They don't want diversity. They don't want different forms of government. They want one government, and that is their government led by Trump. And they believe that there's no value in any. Well, that's what globalism is. Tell me that neocons don't want democracy to be the form of government that is the world today. Well, that's what a neoconservative believes. Instilling government through democracy and teaching people and expanding on democracy throughout the world. That's a neoconservative. It's a globalist and a populist belief. People are saying that Nick.
Yeah, but do you think that Trump was a globalist? I mean, because every
No, not at all. I don't think Trump's a neocon. I think he's a classic conservative.
Yeah. Well, now.
But that's not what his people believe.
Yeah, now. Yeah.
That's not what people, but that's not what
Good
his
point.
Listen, the people who are behind pushing this narrative are the ones that hate Jews. They're the soy boys. This is this group that says that Jewish people in America have all the money and they're greedy, and that there's this hidden freaking cabal. Well, we're going to get to that, but I'm talking about a very small portion of Donald Trump supporters. Most Donald Trump supporters are classic conservatives, very heavily into religion, into the Constitution, into middle America, keep government off our lands, keep our taxes low. That's classic conservatives. Neocons believe that the world should follow suit to what America is. That is a very different thing than a nationalist who believes, let us have our country and everyone fucking else, either you play nice or we're going to smack you. And we believe in a strong defense. That's different than these neocon warhawks, which are a very small element of the party, but have a very loud voice.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Someone said, "What's a neocon?" Well, let me give you the. See, here's the thing: is people don't know what a neocon is.
Conservative?
No, it's not. Maybe in the Latin. So, neoconservatism, and I've quoted this before, but I want to get it right for you because people come on and go, "You're a neocon." I'm like, you don't even fucking know what it is. Define it. I don't know. Neoconservatism is a political movement that began in the United States during the 1960s among liberal hawks who became disenchanted with the increasingly pacifist foreign policy of the Democratic Party and with the growing new left and counterculture of the 1960s, particularly the Vietnam protests. The definition itself is someone who agrees politically with conservative ideas, including free market capitalism. Moderate conservatives lend to clash with neocons on issues of foreign policy. Faith in the free market is one important belief of neocons, but even more important is their support of interventionism. They're war hawks. They believe in replacing foreign leadership. Come on.
Yeah, I get it.
Installing governments. They believe in interventionship, that we need to be the police of the world. That's what neocons believe.
They want to bloat the CIA and give them all the money, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a belief that the United States needs to be the moral leader of the world. And that is not a conservative value in any way, shape, or form. But my thoughts are, I don't believe Donald Trump's a neocon. I don't believe Nikki Haley's a fucking neocon. Nikki Haley had a cush job working for the airlines, and they took a bailout, and she quit after 1 year.
Well, Donald Trump didn't start any new wars, so there's no way he could be considered.
He's not a neocon, but his followers.
He's not an interventionist.
Not at all. In any way, shape, or form. He's more of a nationalist.
Yeah.
But there's this push in this party that the rest of the world needs to follow suit, right? And they keep espousing that they're not neoconservatives, but they don't appreciate Israel. They don't respect the Middle East. They tend to choose other countries that are against Israel and kind of keep them under their wing as positive. I've heard people in Donald Trump's wing support say they're Donald Trump supporters, support Palestine and Hezbollah and Hamas and saying that they are victims to Israeli genocide. Crazy shit, man. So they like to espouse that everyone who's not for Donald Trump are neocons, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. A neocon is Paul Ryan. A neocon is what Glenn Beck was doing during 2014. A neocon is what was the female's name who ran on the Republican ticket? The woman, super religious.
Alaska.
No, not Sarah Palin. The other one. Oh my God, she was always with. She was always a Paul Ryan supporter. God, she was just in the news recently and said that. Remember that the World Health Organization was going to go ahead and take our sovereign laws away and put World Health Organization laws in place of our Constitution, and scared the living shit out of everybody. I'll come up with their name.
While you're thinking of that, let me just 10 seconds. Hey, folks, if you're watching and you like what you're seeing, please like, share, and subscribe. Please go ahead and post this to your personal pages. It really, really would help. We've got roughly double the number of people that we did about 20 minutes ago. So please like, share, and subscribe. Get that out there. Thank you. Sorry.
Why can't I think of her name?
Oh, I can't. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
I always talk trash about her. No, it's not Condoleezza Rice. She's a Republican.
Gabby?
Gabby. Huh. What?
Gabby?
No, not Tulsi Gabbard. No. Before that, 2012, 2014 Tea Partier. She was on the Republican with Santorum, with Rick. It was Rick Santorum, her, and she was a Tea Partier. Paul Ryan, Trey Gowdy. And what was her freaking face? Come on, people. Where are my people who know I talk about this person?
Cards for these people.
It's not Ann Coulter, right?
No, but she was all in that group, and they were the ones that thought they're the ones that sold that Sharia law was coming. Michelle Bachman, thank you very much. Joe wins. Joe, go pick up a T-shirt. Send me an email, owner@don'tunfriendme.com. Pick out a T-shirt. I got it for you. Oh, Michelle Bachman, that's right.
My very good friend. Love Joe Russo.
Well, Joe gets a free T-shirt on Amy. So Michelle Bachman, Paul Ryan, Trey Gowdy. Who's the other guy that's on Fox News? I can't believe I must have been sick. He's got the kind of narrowed eyes. He looks somewhat Oriental / Italian, and he has the Sunday show. Curly black hair. It doesn't matter. Those group of guys were all the ones selling that Sharia law was going to enter the United States, and that all of American women were going to be in burqas soon if you didn't vote for Republicans. These are the ones that said Obama was going to institute Sharia law. These are the fucking nut jobs that are also now saying skulls and bones and the Illuminati and the clones and the bioweapon labs. These are the people.
Once again, this is another situation where you've got one small group of people basically saying, it's like the conspiracy theory item that we were talking about earlier, basically saying, look, this is going to happen if we don't, put a stop to it now. And that's why you need to vote this way. No, stop doing that crap. Just paint your ideals, paint the values that you want to represent, and vote accordingly. Don't listen to that crap.
Joe is doing annoying. Joe is just he's doing great. Jason Chaffetz, that's correct. Guys, I'm so sick. My head is in the clouds. But yes, Jason Chaffetz. You only get one shirt, Joe. Stop pushing. So
I will say he's one of the smartest people I know besides you. I'm just saying.
Well, he's obviously ahead of me tonight. But folks, Michelle Bachmann, this whole neoconservative thing. John McCain was a neoconservative. These are the people that pushed us into the Iraq War. Donald Trump's not a neocon in any way, shape, or form. There is a group of his followers that are remnants of the Tea Party, and they constantly call people like Nikki Haley a neocon, and she's nothing of the sort. She's a classic conservative. She's a minority female, for God's sake. She should be a Democrat. She's not. And she's ultra conservative. She's challenged a couple things. She's talked out against January 6th. She said Donald Trump should have done a better job calling out against that and didn't like some of his verbiage. Either did I. She went ahead and questioned him on a few other things, minor things. She challenged the UN, as they remember when she would get in the chambers with the UN, they would question her being a female, and she just crushed people. She's amazing. There's nothing wrong with Nikki Haley. She'd be a great VP for Trump. The problem is that Trump won't pick her.
Right.
Now, I understand there's some people who are upset and say, oh, well, why are you dropping F-bombs? Listen to me.
What the fuck are you
occasionally, I'm going to cuss on the live show. Why? Because I'm a guy. Okay? And I'm a sailor. And this is my venting. But on my recorded show, I never cuss. I maybe say shit. So cut me some slack. If it really bothers you, I'll do my best. Miley is a neocon. Neoconservatives. Okay, Hillary Clinton's a neocon. Mm-hmm. She's more conservative than you believe. She's a war hawk. She's always been a war hawk. Yeah. Her policies are not tax and spend. Listen, everyone thinks that Hillary Clinton is evil, and she is. But her husband's policies, her husband's policies were not that bad. The only thing that I disagree truly about what Bill Clinton did, besides diddling Monica Lewinsky with a cigar on the Resolute desk, was cutting the military and leaving our boys high and dry. Other than that, Bill, go ahead.
It was under the Clinton administration that they started going through all of the military bases and throwing them up on the chopping block.
And vessels, naval vessels, everything.
And he was the one who basically closed most of them. So yeah.
Wait a second. Arnold says, "Come on, Matt. She's a commie." Who's a commie? Hillary Clinton?
No, she's just horrible with email servers.
Dude, she's not first of all, you don't ever have to tell me. I'm not defending Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't call her a commie. The treason alone with what she did, I don't need to call her a communist because that's nothing compared to what she did from a treasonous standpoint. I'm not a Hillary Clinton. She's just not she's not a classic liberal. She's slightly progressive, but she's a war hawk. She's a neoconservative. Her tax and spend is conservative fiscally. She's conservative. She's not a bleeding heart liberal. That's not Hillary Clinton. That's not her problem. Her problem is that she is an unethical shrew. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Folks, when you're going ahead and throwing up comments, please understand that we are reading them all. And so when you go ahead and throw a comment up there about, Hillary being a communist or whatnot, clearly she's not. Okay, clearly. We have to remember that when you can't just throw blind labels out there like that. Excuse me. If anything, she is horrible with her email server, and she is dishonest, and certainly she carries all of those qualities. She's not a communist. So let's make sure that we're, labeling people. Yeah. If you're going to do that, label it correctly. That's all we're saying.
It's overused. It's overused by their side as much as it is as ours. You can listen, if anyone's a communist, okay, just let's be clear. There's a few. AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Kamala Harris. Those are the most socialist progressive people. Oh, and Minnesota, not Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. Oh, Island Omar is not a socialist. She's a terrorist. She's an ideologue. She's nothing. She has no political loyalty. She's an ideologue. She's an extremist. I won't even put her in a political fray. But listen, this whole conversation is diluted into something completely different. Here's what it comes down to. Stop believing everything you hear. Please, for the love of God. You've got to stop. As far as Ron DeSantis, dude, the guy is literally just sitting there. And what does he say? Probably the most presidential thing he can say. I'm not going to trash other Republicans.
God love
if
him.
You think that message won't play in 2024, watch. If he runs and he goes, I'm not getting involved in this. If you want to debate, I'll debate. You want to argue the points? We'll do that. But if you want to sling mud, I'm not taking part in that crap. Why? Because it's an unwinnable, unattainable situation because Donald Trump's the best at it. And that's not what I'm running on. But if you want to talk policy, I'll go ahead and talk policy with Donald Trump. You want to talk results? I'll do that too. But I'm not going to sling mud because he's the expert at it. How do I know? Well, because he's a mentor of mine. And I care about Donald Trump very much. If he does that, he's going to earn Donald Trump's people's respect, and he's going to be moderate enough that the hardliners won't come over, but the moderates will. He hasn't even announced he's running, and they're already attacking him. That should tell you something. Mm-hmm. George Soros is pumping DeSantis up because he knows that is the biggest competition for Donald Trump. Because if you think that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have a chance in hell at winning, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, the only way they win is if Donald Trump picks Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah. If Biden does win, though, I hope that they have Chinese balloons at his ceremony, his sworn-in ceremony, just to have them all like lanterns.
Oh my God, that would be so freaking sexy.
And then they would be immediately blown out of the sky.
Yeah.
Paul Rivera says, Matt, did you just call Omar a terrorist? Might want to edit. Why would I edit that? What?
As a matter of fact, if you could
wait a second.
Send this
Hold on. I got to defend myself. Hold on. I got to defend myself. She defended Hamas. She defended Hezbollah. She believes Palestine should be a free state. Whenever that is a free state, they vote for terrorists to lead their country. Right. That's why Palestine's not free. Because Israel knows if they do that, you're literally putting a bomb on the backside of your country. Okay, correct. So that's number 3. Number 4, she said 9/11 was something about that somebody did some things. Yeah. She went ahead and talked about ISIS and defended ISIS and some of the practices that ISIS have. She's made comments that are in line with Sharia law. What else is she? Help me understand somebody who advocates for terrorist groups, how that's not a terrorist action. If people in January 6th, who, yes, some of them got out of hand and deserved to be in jail, 120%. Others were there and walking and trespassing. Others just went home, 57,000 of them. But if you're going to call January 6ers terrorists, then what happens to somebody who supports terrorists? Well, anyone who advocated or supported for January 6ers are also under investigation and being considered insurrectionists. So why would you not consider the same thing for Ilhan Omar, who has openly supported some of the worst terrorist groups in the frickin' world? Leroy, go ahead.
She is also openly advocated for policies against Israel.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that
spoke
out.
out. I made this case. Yeah, I made this case against her. So is she out there clacking vests? No. Is she funding terrorism? No. But she openly supports some of these groups and what they do, and verbally. No,
in a lot of ways.
I'm not gonna get. You're not. They can't hit me for speaking my mind on her actions. A terrorist doesn't mean some. Let's look up terrorists, okay? And this is what I always do when people, might be confused on what I'm saying. Let's really read on what a terrorist is, okay? A person who engages in terrorism. That's number one. Number two, one who favors or uses terrorizing methods for the accomplishment of some object, as far as coercing the government or community into the adoption or submission to a certain course or to behoove the practices of terrorism. That's the definition. How does she not qualify?
There is a Department of State definition, and I want to say there's something in there about using political ideology to push for a how the hell did they word it? Oh, I know what it is. To institute goals, something to inculcate fear. In other words, they use a lot of fear tactics, i.e., bombings, hijackings, this kind of thing, in order to attain certain political goals. And under that definition, yeah.
I've already made it perfectly clear that I think Ilhan Omar should not have been removed from her seat based on any other reason than she shouldn't have a clearance. I believe she's outspoken. I believe she actually does a fairly good job in the world community, and I think she's a thorn on the side, and there's no reason she can't use her voice, except for the fact that she's condoned anti-Semitic remarks in terrorist groups. That removes her clearance, and therefore she doesn't qualify. That's the only reason I said. I don't hate or dislike Ilhan Omar at all. I think she's feisty. I think she's passionate. And just because she's on the other side doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and condemn her. I don't play that game. Just like you don't hear me trash AOC. I think she's harmless. I think she's actually good for us because she divides the Democratic Party and holds them hostage a little bit. That's good. But Ilhan Omar most assuredly has views that should render her clearance unassignable. That's it. That's why she should not be on the oversight committee.
That raises a really good point. For all of the Ilhan Omars and AOCs and Bernie Sanders, you can almost kind of visualize them as cracks in the unified party, right? So you can see that they're the more extreme part of the Democratic Party. And so a crack like that is useful. It is someone that can be counted on to make sure that there's divisions within the party, and that if anything else, that it keeps the party arguing amongst itself.
Yeah, and Antoinette makes a really good point. She says, I may have missed it, but when has George Soros ever come out of his lair and endorsed a Republican? His endorsement of DeSantis is a ploy to stoke division, and sadly I see it working. It's exactly it. Mm-hmm. But he has financially. He's given money to plenty of Republican candidates who are going to throw, for instance, Mohammed Oz received money from George Soros.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He funds Republicans who are going to take away from the person who actually is going to give the hardest time to the Democrat or the Republican. Right. And well, Republicans do the same thing. There's times where Republicans will donate to the Democrat candidate, the third party candidate who's going to steal votes away from the primary Democrat candidate. It makes sense. So what does Soros do? He throws DeSantis in the ring because right now the biggest competitor that Donald Trump has is DeSantis, and he's not even running. In fact, the poll numbers are like 51-49 in favor of Donald Trump versus DeSantis. DeSantis is extremely popular. That's why they're trying to discredit him. And that's why Soros came out and did what he did. And honestly, it's political genius. I don't like Soros. But to say that this guy isn't smart when it comes to the way of politics would be underestimating a very worthy adversary.
Yeah.
Completely accurate.
All right. I just wanted to talk about that. And here's what it comes down to. You don't know anything about DeSantis. And really, you don't know anything about Donald Trump. You can only go off their policy. That's what you know. The behind the scenes and what they truly feel, that's all political theater. But you're going to be able to anniversary Donald Trump based on his policies, and that's going to make him hard to beat with any Republican because his policies were fantastic.
That's true.
So DeSantis, though, is one of the only Republicans who has a record from the state level that's equivalent, if not better, than Trump's. Does that make sense? So to discredit DeSantis is a big mistake. And Donald Trump should be smart. Go ahead.
Isaac Smith has a really great comment in here. It says, freedom means being free to criticize and or embrace whatever your views are. I may not agree with you, but I will defend your rights to say it. It's a good point, right. Isaac.
Yep.
Well, I completely concur. My point is that there's a line in the sand there, though. The moment you start spreading disinformation about somebody simply because you don't like them because Donald Trump says you can't like them, don't you see how dangerous that is?
Right.
Well, that's the loyalty card that he plays.
Right. Yep. That's a one-way loyalty.
Yeah. It's very much, if you're not 100% take a knee to Donald Trump, he turns on you in a New York minute and he'll cut you.
You know, and I'll say that of all of the things that, of all of the policies that he has ever put forth, I really like his policies, but it's that kind of crap that always turned me off from him. That is the one thing. It is my way or the highway. And this is the only path for the future of the Republican Party. And me personally, I don't agree with that. I think that he should be able to introduce. Yes.
Yeah.
It is dangerous.
It's very tyrannical and very King George. So it's either my way or it's the highway. And I don't.
VIII? I'm kidding.
It very well could be. It could be Henry III. It doesn't matter. It's very tyrannical. It's very take a knee and kiss the ring. And here's what it comes down to. And this is the simplest form. Donald Trump's 80 some odd years old. He's got 4 years. There has to be a life after Donald Trump, and we better start getting used to that right now.
I agree.
Because if we think after 2024, if he loses, we're going to lose our entire identity because nobody will be left. We will have torn down every possible candidate for 2026 for the Senate or the House or 2028 for the run. Because, folks, this is the new generation of Republicans. They're here. It's Nikki Haley. It's Ron DeSantis. It's Tim Scott. It's Glenn Youngkin. This is the new party. And if you tear them down and destroy them and their credibility, they're all going to be Ted Cruz's, Lindsey Graham's, Marco Rubio's, Jeb Bush's. They're going to be men without countries, without balls, because we ripped them off and we made them swallow them. If you want to make gelding leaders, allow Donald Trump and this primary to destroy the future of the Republican Party. If we do that, we are the biggest idiots on the planet. And I swear we can't do it. If we do that, we're playing right into the Democrats' hands. That's what Soros is trying to do right now.
Well, that's the point of the division.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to play this video. We can all get out of here by 10. We can say kumbaya. And I'm already getting sick. I can feel it again. Getting stuffed up. My throat's starting to go.
I can hear it in your voice, man.
Yep.
I know. It sucks. But we're going to play this damn thing. And we're going to watch this. And folks, do me a favor, please. This video, even if you've seen it, when you leave tonight, just do me one solid. Go out to the thread and hit like on this damn thing. They've been throttling my recorded shows quite a bit. And I'll be honest with you, I think the recorded shows have been the best they've ever been. And I just feel like we're getting really throttled. So if you can get out there and like them, share them, they're always on there. You may not see them. You got to go to the page and make an effort. And that's what I ask people. I don't want your money. I don't want you to buy something. I want you to get out there and like, share, and subscribe and get the word out there for me, okay?
You know what it takes to like, share, and subscribe to Matt's videos? You know what it takes? It takes
balls.
It takes balls.
Takes balls.
It takes
balls.
You gotta say, it's almost like you got to say it with a New Jersey accent.
Takes balls. It takes gargantuan nut sex. It takes wrinkly balls.
I think the truck nuts.
What's that, Amy?
Are they called the truck nuts?
I've seen them.
Yeah. Are those what I didn't know. Are you going to put those on your kids' new phone when you get
actually?
Your license?
No. I saw these advertised. They are Christmas ornaments. They originally came with a tiny little red bow, and my wife was like, "I would put that in the tree," and I'm like, "Say no more." And so I ordered like 2 sets of them. Yeah.
Oh my golly.
Jeanette says, we are not living with him, just his policies. Trump made us great again. Yeah, but okay, I'm going to make a point here. I have defended Donald Trump and his policies on this program a shit ton. But the one thing I know about leadership, working in retail leadership for 25 years, and I have been promoted 30 times. I've moved to 7 different states, worked for multiple companies, is that if you leave your district or region or your territory or your division and it all falls apart, then your policies weren't that good to begin with.
Yep.
Now, that's what I know, because you didn't leave a legacy behind. Donald Trump made one mistake. He burned every single bridge on his way out.
Yep.
And he didn't leave a legacy. He left a fragile executive order state, which was all overturned by Joe Biden on the first day. That is not making America great again. It's making America on the path to greatness if nobody fucks with the executive orders that are in place. Donald Trump couldn't get things pushed through because Republicans were divided. This is what Joe Biden will do. The next president, whoever it is, if they're a Republican, is going to come in and undo everything that Obama and everything that Biden did, and his legacy will be Jimmy Carter, complete dog shit. Yes, Donald Trump made America great again, and he put it on a path of success. And then it was all dismantled because it wasn't policy. It was executive orders. Please understand the difference.
That's the difference, though. I don't care if Donald Trump gets elected. I don't care if Nikki Haley is the next. I don't care. I care about the fiscal responsibility. I care about the immigration policies put forth. I care about our defense spending. I care about those things. And whichever one of those candidates best fits that bill, that's the person that gets my vote.
I agree. All right, let's watch this real quick. This is for Amy, because I was thinking about you and Olivia when I did this. So I was dreaming when I wrote this. Good Friday evening, Red Friday to be exact. My name is Matthew Spear. I'm the host of Don't Unfriend Me / Breaking Truth. This is episode 442. Little dyslexia for cure found there. What are we talking about tonight? Don Lemon or Don Lemon. Guys, sour grapes, actually, if you ask me. Don wasn't always this way. At one point, he actually had some credibility when he was a weekend anchor, but now he's going after Nikki Haley. And why? Well, because he says ageism is bad, so he proceeds to go ahead and hit her with being out of her prime and focus on her age. Of course, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis and anyone else who's going to announce they're going to run against Donald Trump are going to have to deal with all the skull and bones and the Illuminati and neocons and how Ron DeSantis is a clone and the real DeSantis is in prison in Guantanamo Bay. You might say, Matt, what the hell are you talking about? Yes, Jared, policy has to be voted on. That's my point. My point is all you would have had to do was actually keep the Senate and the Congress in order to get your policies passed with a majority. That's the president's responsibility. The president must have a House and a Senate. And if he fails to do that, the American people repudiate his policies. I'm not blaming Trump for not getting policies passed. I'm asking him to take responsibility that we lost the chambers of Congress to make this happen. That's my point. Okay. So lame duck presidencies happen all the time. He should have got in for a second term, and then we should have had actually wiped the floor in 2022. We didn't. And some of his choices got us there. So let's give Trump his praise 90% of the time, but the 10% of the time, let's go ahead and call him out. This 2022 midterm was his failure. And 17 of his candidates lost in key swing states because of election deniers and January 6th bullshit. That's why they lost. Republicans did very well outside of the 17 that he chose. Now you consider and say, well, 226 go blah, blah, blah. No, those people are going to win anyway. I'm talking about the key toss-up seats that were actually going to switch the division of the House and the Senate. Let's be honest. About, trust me, the Qers out there, the people who believe this insane stuff have been going after Nikki Haley, but nothing quite like this. All of that stuff's just not believable. But when an anchor with a prominent position on the morning show as Don Lemon says that she's out of her prime, it's going to turn a few heads, and it did. We're going to talk about it tonight, right after these words from Eli Crane. So find me across the interwebs, Al Gore's internet. At The Dumb Show is my tag, and then you can find me at thedumbshow.com. You can find some cool shirts like this one, some coffee, and also all my catalog, old podcasts and video episodes. Tonight, we've already talked about what we're going to talk about. This video isn't necessarily disturbing. I understand what Don Lemon was trying to say, but it is really kind of an old stereotype that a woman, once she's out of her 20s or 30s or 40s, is out of her prime. Now, I'm married. I have a perspective about this, and not just because I want to stay happily married am I going to go ahead and give you a spiel tonight, but I happen to think that the version of women, once they hit a certain age, reach a whole nother plateau. And they're really, you hear these, things that men age like fine wine and cheese, and women age like milk in a fridge. And I completely disagree. I think that some of the most beautiful women on the earth are over 40 years old. Now, maybe that's because I'm pushing the years, but even when I was younger, I've always found older women to be pretty, but it's so much more than that, right? This is politics. This isn't a frickin' modeling show. What the hell is he talking about? Because with age, no matter which sex you are, comes a certain level of knowledge. Now, I can prove this after this video from Dawn stating these horrible things about Nikki. And watch the co-hosts and watch their reaction. They want to beat the living crap out of him when he says this. Here it is.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road.
First of all, hands on the hips. I mean, can you emasculate any more?
To go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
You need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to Google or whatever it is.
So you've heard it here first, women. If you are 20, 30, or 40, you're safe. Anything over that, we need to put you out to pasture and shoot you, take you to the glue factory and get a new horse. Not the most eloquent of statements. He could have said simply this. She's not some spring chicken, whatever. And that would have been a political jab above the belt. But saying that any woman outside of 20, 30, or 40 is out of their prime is absolutely ridiculous. And I've got some things to prove that. Mary Delaney, she was a British artist and writer who began creating her famous paper collages known as paper mosaics. And she was 72 years old. We all know Mother Teresa, Catholic nun who founded the Missionaries of Charity in India in 1950 at the age of 40. She just got it in just a little bit. She continued working tirelessly to help the sick and the poor, and then dying until her death until 1997 at the age of 87 years old. Harriet Tubman, an American abolitionist and political activist who escaped slavery in her 20s, then went on to lead other enslaved people to freedom via the Underground Railroad. She also served as a spy and a nurse during the Civil War. Tubman continued to advocate for civil rights until her death at 91 years old. Grandma Moses, American folk artist who began painting in the 1970s and continued to create until her death at age 101. How about Barbara McClintock, American geneticist who won the Nobel Peace Prize in Physiology of Medicine in 1983 at the age of 81 years old. She made groundbreaking discoveries in fields of genetics, particularly in the study of maize. Agatha Christie, British author, who wrote many of her most famous detective novels, including Murder on the Orient Express, in her 50s and 60s. Julia Child, American chef and spy, author who became famous for her cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, and her TV show, The French Chef. She began her culinary career in her 40s and continued to inspire home cooking until her death at 91. Clara Barton, American pioneering nurse and humanitarian who founded the American Red Cross at the age of 59. She continued to work for the organization until her retirement at the age of 83. Toni Morrison, American author who won the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature in 1993 at the age of 62. She wrote many acclaimed novels, including Beloved and Song of Solomon. How about Margaret Thatcher, that wily old Brit? First female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, serving from 1979 to 1990. She was in her 50s when she became Prime Minister and continued to serve until her resignation at the age of 65. Katherine Johnson, American mathematician whose calculations were critical to the success of the early space programs. She continued to work for NASA until her retirement at 97. Coco Chanel, number 5.
I was going to say
French fashion designer, actually number 12, who founded the Chanel brand in her 40s and continued to innovate and create until her death at 87. Maya Angelou, one of my favorites. American poet, author, and civil rights activist who wrote some of her famous works, including I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings in her 40s and 50s. Georgia O'Keeffe, American artist who created many of the most famous works, including her iconic flower paintings in the 50s, 60s, and 70s years of age. She was an Israeli prime minister from 1969 to 74, my birth year. She was in her 70s when she retired from politics. Susan B. Anthony, American women's rights activist, who played a pivotal role in securing women's right to vote. She continued to advocate for women's rights until her death at age 86. Dorothy Lange, American photographer, who captured some of the most iconic images of the Great Depression at 57. Marie Curie, the Polish-French physicist and chemist, discovered radium and polonium and was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. She was over 50 when she received her second Nobel Prize in chemistry. Indira Gandhi, the Indian politician, served as Prime Minister of India and from 1966 to 1977, and again from 1980 until her assassination in 84. She was in her 50s when she became Prime Minister for the first time. Last but not least, my wife. At the illustrious age of 42, my wife still looks like she did when she was 20. After 2 children and putting up with my crap, she is still the sexiest, most kind-hearted woman I've ever met. She works tirelessly every day to provide the things for our family that I so desperately lack. Women are always in their prime. And to speak about that, Don, you used to be too. This Don Lemon that we're hearing from isn't the one that we heard from for most of his career. When he was just simply quarterbacking the weekend show, he didn't have anything to prove, and he was very, very strong. In fact, I'm going to show you an entire clip where he let out 5 things that he felt the African-American community needed to do. This was groundbreaking, something that we had never heard on the national stage at this level from somebody like Don, and it was moving. It's something that I refer to often. Here it is.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Some people, a lot of them black, gave me flack for saying that recently on the Wendy Williams show.
If you're sagging, it means, I think it's your self-esteem is sagging and who you are as a person. It's sagging. Young people need to be taught respect, and there are rules.
Sagging pants, whether it's Justin Bieber or no-name Derek around the way, walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact,
it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word.
For our generation, what we did was we took the word and we took the power out of that word.
We took this word and we made it into poetry.
I understand poetic license, but consider this. I hosted a special on the N-word, suggesting that black people stop using it, and that entertainers stop deluding yourselves or themselves and others that you're somehow taking the word back. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like a nigger? A lot of African Americans took offense to that too, and I wondered if I gave the right advice. I really did. But confirmation came the very next day on my way home when I exited the subway on 125th Street in Harlem. This little kid in a school uniform, no older than 7 years old, he was crying his eyes out as he walked down the sidewalk with his mother. I'm going to be honest here. She turned to him and she said, "I'm sick of you. You act like an old-ass man. Stop all that crying, nigger." Is that taking the word back? Think about that. Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues. So please, black folks, as I said, if this doesn't apply to you, I'm not talking to you. Pay attention to and think about what has been presented in recent history as acceptable behavior. Pay close attention to the hip-hop and rap culture that many of you embrace, a culture that...
I've tried to tell you people, CNN never used to be like this. See, when Donald Trump came down that golden staircase, CNN lost their fucking minds. So did MSNBC and everyone else. But CNN was predominantly moderate, and they reported the news, and they were good at it. It kind of changed during 9/11, but 9/11, they kind of got back to their roots after the Iraq War. I'm not saying that they weren't always a little left. What I'm saying is that it changed, and Donald Trump changed them. So this, I've told you all to watch this before. Nobody believed me that Don Lemon was fairly conservative in his thought process, or at least moderate when it came to social values as a gay black man.
Glorifies everything I just mentioned. Thug and reprehensible behavior.
Hey, Matt,
a culture that is...
Yeah.
Real quick, because the whole time that is playing, and the moment you said that, my immediate thought process was, God, does anyone remember when Don Lemon was a conservative?
Yeah.
Right.
At least from a social standpoint, he was very conservative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fiscally, he spent like a fucking like a sieve, but socially, he was very conservative in his thought process. All right,
Yeah.
let me get to the rest of this, because I literally
Go ahead.
I spanked the living shit out of him as he did this. I do it right back at him. So let's watch.
making a lot of people rich, just not you, and it's not going to.
Doesn't sound like Don Lemon, does it? You would say that would just be something you never would hear on TV. Black, white, brown, green, yellow, and different. And the true part of this is that you'll never hear somebody like myself or just about anybody say that on TV, minus Bill O'Reilly, and look where he's at now. The whole thing is that honesty is paramount. And Dawn was trying to make a point about Nikki Haley that she was going to ask for cognitive tests for people like Joe Biden, even Donald Trump, when they're over 75 years old. And let's face it, you have to have a cardiograph. You have to go ahead and have a blood test. You have to ensure that you're free of any major illnesses before you enter the presidency. You've got to give your taxes, make sure you're of sound body and mind from a financial perspective, spiritually, existentially, whatever you want to say. Well, then we should do a cognitive test as well. Nikki Haley's 100% right. And all he was trying to do was just, give her a little poke. We know that wouldn't actually happen with Don Lemon, but, proverbial poke. But the thing is that this is the way Don Lemon feels. This is who he is. And he's changed. He's not the same guy. And it's not that I like to see a black man point out other races' faults and issues, because that's ridiculous. It happens to be right. And I am critical of every race, color, creed, sexual disposition. I don't care who you are. Everyone gets in my crosshairs from time to time. Karen, he said it in 2014 when he was an anchor on the weekend show. I say that here in just a second. But Dawn is now the one in them. And I said earlier that women are always in their prime. And Nikki Haley doesn't need me to defend her. She did a great job today defending herself. But just because you're an effeminate male, Dawn, it doesn't mean you understand women at all. You listed the 5 things young black men need to do. Well, let me list the 5 things you should do. Since you are so good at delivering advice, maybe you should take some of your own. Nikki Haley is an American, not an old American woman, not an Indian woman, even a conservative or a neocon. She is a daughter. She's someone's wife, mother. And real men don't degrade women and ostracize them based on monikers and demography. Number 2, as a black man, as a black gay man, you should understand more than anyone how it feels to be discriminated against based on your race, color, creed, sex, or disposition, religion. And I know growing up in predominant white neighborhoods like you have, your whole life has given you certain carte blanche to remain removed from these tropes. But I'm sure you have heard a story or two of what it's like. You are on thin ice, number 3. CNN is hatcheting jobs left and right, and you already lost your primetime slot because you're an ideological stump for the left. And now that you have colleagues and people who sit to your left and right and have been dejected to the AM hour, they are seeing how you are a chauvinist, pretentious douche with little or no value to the opposite sex. And it's no wonder you have chosen the path you have. No women can seem to stand you for very long after all. Number 4, you were so much more authentic and real when you were running the weekend slots. You weren't prime time. You were not trying to make a name. You were genuine and just a man telling it to all sides in a way they could understand. And you were breaking down barriers. You know when you were in your prime. Number 5, enough of the double standard. If you get to put every Republican on trial every night and insult them because they are white Republicans from the middle of the country, I can be honest too and tell you how you come across. You come across as a person who has rejected their own heritage, unless it is when you want to play the victim or the get out of jail free card. And it's pathetic. You preach from your metal pulpit as to how the Democrats are holier than thou and everyone else are just uneducated white knuckle draggers. But the truth is, Don, there are many Republican women, Hispanics, African American, Indian, natives, and Asians, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Gentiles, young and old. And all of us are just a bit sick and tired of your pretentious disdain for those not like you. So tread carefully, Dawn, because you know as well as I do that you are one of the last standing at CNN, not because of your talent, but because of your protected class. Speaking of class, it is now dismissed. Here endeth the lesson. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show tonight. If you like the show, please leave some comments down below. Give me a like, share, and subscribe at The Dumb Show. Stop by thedumbshow.com and pick yourself up a cool hat, some coffee.
It's always fun to
to take after somebody that can't defend themselves or has no idea that they need to. But I would love to debate Don Lemon, because I would simply just say, talk those sweet, pretty nothings that you used to do when you were rational. And I won't debate you. Why did you sell out? And that's truly what he did. In order to get a primetime slot, he had to go to the far left, and that's what he did. And he's a sellout. He's just like Rubin. Rubin's not a fucking conservative. Mark Rubin's not a conservative. He's a fucking liberal. And all of a sudden, listen real quick, any person who all of a sudden, when your neurons are set at 40 years old, decides you're going to switch parties, there's something wrong with you. There's something inherently wrong with you. Because that means you have to change your entire moral code, because the moral fabric has been sewn into political parties, unfortunately, which it never should have been. It was never about moral turpitude. It was about making the best decision for your fellow people. That's what it used to be. And now it's the difference between what's right and what's wrong, unfortunately. So anyone who switches their entire ideology is switching their values, which to me is inherently completely disingenuous. Leroy, you don't agree, and that's fine. You don't have to. Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, I was just going to say, not necessarily. That just means that was somebody who was never truly rooted in their belief system to begin with.
Dave Rubin, sorry.
Dave. I love him. So
you
good.
Do?
Dave Rubin?
Wait a second. Why?
Dave Rubin?
Yeah, you consider him.
So
do you consider him to be on your par intellectually?
No.
Okay.
But
right.
I do like the fact that he opens up, he asks the right questions, right? That's not where I was headed with all of this. That whole
all right,
time,
I'm sorry, but all right, we'll talk about that some other time. Go ahead.
No. It is important though. That whole time Don Lemon was going off about, his, what sounded like conservative values at the time. The only thing that I could think of, the only person that I could think of was a guy named Rob Smith. If you don't know who that is, after the show, don't unfriend me. Go ahead and look him up. He is a conservative, gay, black male. And so the whole time he's going off, I'm thinking, God, what I'd love to get these two in a room and see how that conversation goes out. Because if we're really talking about individual values, if we're talking about trying to make changes for the better. And I understand where Don Lemon was coming from, because he certainly sounded like a conservative way back in the day. But that's where that's where Rob Smith is at now. And so I would like to see how that like that conversation, how would that transpire? How would that go? Well, Don, how did you get from point A to point B? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Did you like betray everything that you said way back then? I don't know.
It's called a penthouse apartment and a $14 million annual contract. Amy, go ahead.
Sold it out.
I did Google it because I was curious to see. There was so many answers, but one did stick out. One did say between age of 30 and 39. So I was like, oh. But
they do. There's quite a bit. But what is prime? Childbirth, looks, intelligence.
Yeah.
Tit sagging.
I mean, I'm still waiting to hit my stride, but
you look like shit. You must be at least 41.
Thanks.
Oh, Amy looks fantastic.
I know. It was really windy today, and I don't know what to say other than it's been a long week. No, I think women, look, I am one, so I can just say this as from my personal lived experience as a natural born cis woman, whatever is it called, right?
Cisgender,
whatever it's called. I think women, we are responsible for a lot of things in life, as are men, but I think a lot of women we don't take credit for a lot that we do, because we just do it. We're not like, oh, look at me. It's like, this is just life. You put yourself last almost always as a woman, and we're okay with that. Like, we don't expect some special award for that. We're not being sought out to go, oh my gosh, please give me credit for always doing for everybody else. Oh, hi.
Oh, I can hear you. Hi.
What?
She can hear you.
Oh.
Because I've got the speakers on tonight, and you can hear the echo.
Oh, hi, honey. Hi. You look pretty as always. I like your hair.
Yeah, I know. She looks great.
Yeah.
You're supposed to take a shower tonight, do your hair. Are you doing that? Okay, go get some rest. I love you.
Yes,
go ahead.
Thank you for the reminder. I do need to do that. No, I think women, I think at any age, I think, but also I think men could be the same way. I think to just put that one label and, Nikki Haley, I like her a lot. I've always liked her. I think she's pretty great at a lot of things. And I mean, maybe he's a little jealous that she has, achieved more past her prime in his mind than he's achieving in his. I don't know.
I think he was just trying to be relevant.
Yeah. Well,
I think, listen, can I be, listen, if he's going to give brutal honesty, and I already gave some, he's in the middle of two white women. He has always kind of been the black voice for the Democrat movement inside the United States as far as CNN is concerned. Ever since Bernard Shaw has kind of left, he's been the one. And now he's subjugated to a morning
of the world too, right?
What?
I mean, you get the Al Sharptons of the world too, right?
No, as a news. No, he's.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Al Sharpton's a fucking a weekend jump on the fucking. I'm talking about a full-time primetime slot. Anyway, he was full primetime. He was speaking to America. He had the highest slotted time outside of Cuomo. he rivaled Rachel Maddow. They didn't touch Fox News. And then he was put on the AM show where everyone wears pastel and it's perpetual Easter every day of the week. And they all wear freaking Blukers and Brooks Brothers clothing. And he's a black guy sitting in the middle of that. And I think it makes him look a little Hodgkins. And he doesn't like it. And I think it makes him uncomfortable. And I think it perpetuates something he's gotten shit for his entire life, where I do not believe this. And I think this is horrible. So I say, I quote, that he's not black. That he talks like a Harvard-educated guy. That he sounds like a doctor, and it bothers him, and it bothers him a lot, and it should, because it's racist and it's fucked up.
Wait, so
but
you think?
I think that he's very uncomfortable where he's sitting, and he is trying to create an edge for himself that he used to have on primetime. Because how many times can you talk about making Bloody Marys and having lawn fertilizer made out of compost that you can make out of your garbage? It's not what he signed up for, and he's being put into perpetual timeout because he is a lefty above all lefties, and CNN doesn't want it anymore. So I think he's trying to stay relevant, and unfortunately, he stepped on his own dick today.
That makes sense.
You think he's resentful for being black?
I think he's resentful because people think he's not black enough.
Yeah.
And that show exemplifies that. Listen, if okay, there's no reason a white guy can't say that after the shit he just said, right? This isn't racist to me. I don't care what color he is. I don't care how well he speaks. I never would say, "Oh, he's trying to be white." That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm saying he's an educated, smart, intelligent man who I used to really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that he has become extremely volatile on this morning show. He snapped at his colleagues. There was actually a clip last week where he bit off two of his colleagues' head. He's unhappy. He's pissed off.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be on this show, and it doesn't help his street cred to be on the freaking Fox and Friends of CNN. I mean, have you seen? All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and make chocolate chip cookies. Then after that, we've got a Clint Black rendition done by the Spice Brothers. Ooh, we're so excited. Then we got the NASCAR coming up at 9 a.m. We'll see you then. There's nothing newsworthy going on. It's a fucking morning show. And that's what he's doing. And I don't think it's what he wants to do. And I think he's taking it out on his coworkers. He's taking it out on his hosts. And he's taking it out on America. Amy's got to go. Amy,
I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
Love you, Amy.
last word is I'm just gonna go get some more work done, and I love you guys. I've missed you all week. If you live near me, or if you're out in Western Loudon tomorrow, stop by and see me. I'll be at my open house.
I can't
Nice.
listen, and I love you to death. And remember, when I said you look like shit, it's me being.
I don't take offense, and I do
Yeah,
like
because
shit
you know
today.
that's not true. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form.
I
So.
had someone, when you look bad when someone's like, "Are you sick?" and you're like, "No, this is just how I look without combing my hair all day and putting makeup on."
Yeah, but I'm not going up to you and going, "Oh, when's the baby due?" So just lighten up. You look good.
Well,
get some sleep. You're supposed to be out of here. You're 15 minutes late. Goodbye. Leave.
Yeah,
I'm kicking you off the show. Good night. We love you.
Good
Love
night.
you, honey.
I'll see you guys. Good night.
All right, Bubba. Leroy, last word for you. Go ahead. But that was my point with Don Lemon is I kind of feel for him. He made some serious mistakes. He did not read the tea leaves well. He didn't see where CNN was moving to. He didn't transition effectively, and he got his ass booted into the morning show. And honestly, I think they want him to quit. And he may not have a choice, because I think this last comment might do him in.
All right. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I don't have any sympathies for him. He painted himself into that corner. And the fact of the matter is, you can't go out there and blame and claim that you're a victim in nearly every facet of society, and then say, "Oh, look, they didn't like me, so they fired me from CNN where I'm making multi-millions." No, screw you, buddy. You know what? If you really wanted to own it, if you really wanted to be a man, not that you're a man, but if you really wanted to own it, you'd be, somewhat,
there'd be some contrition.
Yes, you wouldn't be so passive about the whole thing. And that's what he is. Every time he puts his hands up on his hips and then starts throwing the finger at his co-host, that's exactly what he's doing. The man, no offense.
You're right.
I
Listen,
never
I'm
like.
just trying. I'm not trying to sound like some clan clucker from Virginia, because that's not what I'm saying. I don't care. He could be a white guy, and he said what he said. I was going to go after him tonight because, listen, I go after. I'm not going to fucking explain myself. I don't know anyone anything. I just stand on my merit. I don't care who you are.
Nor do you. And I don't give a shit that he's black. I don't care. My point is that you can't claim one set of value systems in for the last 5 years, and then it seems like he's kind of going against all of that grain, basically saying that, oh, Donald Trump was a misogynist for the last 20 years. And then you go and attack women. And then what? That's what? All of a sudden it's okay? No.
Yeah.
You got to own it.
And people are saying, well, what about Whoopi Goldberg? Well, first of all, what a lot of people don't know about Whoopi Goldberg is she actually owns shares in The View. She's a producer of The View, and she's also owner of the actual trade of The View. So you have to understand that's a tall order to get her. You got to cross some I's and some T's. Don Lemon, they want him gone. They wouldn't have stuck him in the morning show. They wanted him out of prime time. Yeah, he's not happy anyway. He's not happy. And you heard what Cuomo said. Cuomo said, man, I wanted to kill and murder people when I got fired. I mean, these guys they're angry, right? And they're upset, and they've gotten a taste of what the cancel culture feels like, and they don't like it. Welcome to our fucking world.
Well, I mean, really, that's the psychological profile of someone who lives in that world, right? If you are a host on CNN, an already left-leaning network, you already think that you're in this position where, oh, well, if the government just acted this way, and we can criticize that. If I had my way, the government would do this or would do that, because those would be the things that I would impose. No, the world doesn't act it doesn't respond that way. And no offense, but you people are not kings. So Don Lemon, you know what? I look forward to the day you get fired. Sorry.
Well, I leaned into him pretty hard tonight. So you feel like I do. I'm just trying to save a little bit of face here that people don't think that. Well, come on, man. I did go after. I made a couple gay jokes inside there. But you know what? I don't give a fuck, because he does the same thing. And I treat people the way they treat others. All right. That's fair. All right. Well, my last word is I'm going to go rest. And I know I have not fulfilled my opportunities to be live. I'm really going to try to bring one. I've done really well in the recorded shows. I think we did 5 for 5 this week because I know I wasn't on live. I am going to try to come on live Saturday or Sunday. Let's hopefully some local hobby club puts up a balloon that we shoot down. So we have some exciting news. Leroy, I love you as always, buddy.
My hat's off to you because I know of no one who would have put this much effort, this much grit into a show when they're going through pneumonia, when they're sick. Yeah. God love you. My hat's off to you. I think that's ballsy. That takes a lot of
we just got to get this thing to take off, buddy.
Fortitude that not a lot of people, have. So good on you.
I appreciate it. I love our live shows and they mean a great deal. We gotta pop that proverbial ceiling here and get this show bigger.
We need one of these videos to reach the correct person so it can go viral. And then the next thing you know, you've got 250 to 500,000 followers. You know,
we're really close to 150 now. We're pushing it. We're 144, I think. And that's great. And the pacing's good. The traffic's good. It's just the videos and the lives have not been doing very well. And it's shocking because, like I said, I think the content's better than it's been in a while. But either way, listen, everybody go over to the Don't Unfriend Me store at thedumbshow.com. You get 10% off with Dumb 10. If you are part of the Dumb Nation group, you get 15% off. It's $1.99 a month. You should join that group if you haven't had a chance. Just go to Facebook and hit join the Dumb Nation, and also stop by the site, see it, say hello. Leroy, thank you for being here. Our wonderful, beautiful co-host, Amy, and our sexy, bald is beautiful, Leroy. We appreciate you guys being here. We're going to go out with the Veteran Crisis Hotline like we always do with the message from the guys from SEAL Team, which has just been renewed for a 7th season, and I'm freaking stoked because that show is the shiznit. That's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll get out of here. Good night, everybody. God bless. Talk to you all soon.
Love you guys.
I'm David Boreanaz with the cast of SEAL Team, and we have an important message for returning vets. We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help, and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice than service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important. For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call.
So someone said something interesting real quick. We're going against Tim Pool's time slot. What time is Tim on? Karen, what time is Tim Pool's show? Need to find that out real quick. Because if that's the case, then I'll move the show time to like 7 o'clock. I've got no problem doing that. That gets me off earlier with the family too. Karen, let me know from what time to what time. I hope she didn't jump off. I guess I can look it up. 8:30, huh? So we're against each other's time slot. Okay. All right. I'll give it some thought. I'll see. Maybe I come on early. Either way, folks, thanks for everything. I will see you tomorrow. Probably.